What's up guys, Lake here, and today I'm going to be sharing some special pin mail I just got. These are some of the releases from the last Disney Studio Store Hollywood online release. These are the Disney wedding pin set that they did. They're LE300. These released back in March, and they finally just came. It's been about a month since the release. If you've never done a DSSH release online before, it's a pretty easy process, but also pretty hard at the same time. These pins, typically, you can only get at the actual Disney Studio Store Hollywood when they do the releases on site there, so not a lot of people get access to them, but when they do the online releases, essentially anyone can go online and try to get these pins. But as I said, they're LE300, so thousands of people are trying to get online to get these pins at once. So if you do ever try it, I usually say expect to be disappointed. This was, I think, this was the second time that I've ever gotten through on an online release. The first time was for a Star Wars release set, which is usually easier to go on and get through just because they are less popular pins. But how the release works is basically if you follow the Disney Studio Store online on Facebook, they will every month release basically all the pins that they were releasing that month. They usually do 2 releases each month. And about every 3 months or so, they announce that they're going to do an online release for whatever various set that they decide to do it for. This time it was for the wedding series. So then what happens basically is they announce what time and what date. It's usually 9 a.m. Pacific time, so 12 noon here on the eastern side. But what they do is exactly, or give or take, usually it's pretty close to on the dot at that 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock mark. Again, depending on where you live, they will post a link on their Facebook page saying, hey, here's the link, and this essentially gets you into the queue. Again though, thousands of people are trying to click this link all at once. It usually makes their server very, very slow. You get stuck into a waiting room that essentially refreshes over and over and over again. I really wasn't planning on doing anything with this release. I had actually forgotten about it until the day of, and someone had posted something on Facebook, and I happened to have the day off work, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm already on my computer, I might as well try for it. So I just sat there and hit the page and let it spin. And I honestly didn't think I was going to get the pins because the page spun for probably about 30 minutes or so before I finally got pushed through. It was like, oh, I bet everything's sold out already. But sure enough, when I got through, everything was still available. So as I showed, I got 4 of the pins. I have Rapunzel and Ariel over on this side here. And I have Carl and Ellie from Up, and then Pongo and I forget the other dog's name from 101 Dalmatians. Now there were 8 of these total. I just didn't need to spend money on all 8 pins. They were all available to me. But they also had Robin Hood, they had Tiana and Prince Naveen, they had Cinderella and Prince Charming, and they also had Aladdin and Jasmine. They're all pretty cool pins. They were all really neat. They're a good size too. I'll show you a close-up in just a moment. But those were the 4 that I decided to get. But I'm pretty sure a few minutes after I had gotten through, everything had been sold out. But it was odd that it did take about half an hour for them to sell out. Like I said, everything was open when I got through. But now we're going to go ahead and show you a close-up of these pins, because they're pretty cool. Alright, so now we're going to take a closer look at these pins. I went ahead and took them out of the plastic already, but you can see the Rapunzel and Flynn Rider here. And again, these are pretty decent size. It's probably about 2.5, 3 inches height, and maybe 1.25 inches lengthwise, maybe an 1.5 inches. So decent sized pins for sure. But you can see it's them in the altar, and then Rapunzel is in her wedding dress. And then here you can see it's kind of their goodbye scene at the end of the movie there. Obviously, Ariel in her wedding dress as well. And then they have the crest up above them. And this one's pretty cool. I like kind of the drapery that's around them and below them. And then obviously you have Max the dog in this one as well. It's pretty cool. And then we have Carl and Ellie. And this is another cool one, pretty much direct scene translation for this one, which I think the Ariel one pretty much is too. But I like this one a lot. This was probably the one I was most excited for, just because I like Up and I like Carl and Ellie. But you can see it's the church in the background, the stained glass window, and then obviously Carl and Ellie, and then the flowers around the bottom there. It's pretty cool there. And then we have the 101 Dalmatians. And pretty similar to all the other ones, you have kind of an altar-esque scene. There's roses up along the back, and then roses along the bottom there. And then I'll go ahead and pull one of these off the back just so you can see them. But they're all pretty much the standard studio store back there. But you can see Disney Studio Store Hollywood, limited edition 300, and so on. The ice cream cones on the back. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe down below. And let me know what you think of this pin release. Did you try to do the online release? Let me know how it went for you. Thanks guys.